My name's Nicole. I'm a physical therapist and a mama, and I love helping moms get back to exercise, whatever that looked like before they had their baby. And if you are someone that was running before you had baby, I think it's awesome that you want to get back to that. It's great for stress, it's great physically, it's a way to be outside if you run outside, just awesome all around. Item number 1 on your checklist for getting back to running is starting with your breath work. Now, you really should not start running the day after you get home from the hospital after having your baby, but you absolutely should start working on your breath work. Your inhale, your exhale, using your ribs, not carrying tension in your shoulders, tying your breath work to your pelvic floor contractions. I actually have a whole nother video about breath work. I'm going to link that above because I really think it's important to just watch that whole video and start there and start that day 1 and then tie that into running, as that's going to be an important piece to getting back to running without having a lot of pain and without peeing your pants every time you go to run. The next thing I think you should check in on when you're getting ready to return to running is, how is walking going? Like, if you go to Meijer and you walk through the store, do you have a painful pelvic floor when you get home? Or when you walk around, is it making you leak? When you walk up and down the stairs, is that making you leak? How are just lower impact exercises going? Because if you're having a lot of pain or incontinence or dysfunction when you are just walking or going up and down the stairs, it is definitely too early to start running. And I would caution you to work on things to make those simple activities tolerable before you progress to running, or you could really compound these small problems into a very big problem. The third thing to check in on is, how is your glute strengthening going? Have you even considered strengthening your glutes? Because here's the truth, is that after we have babies, we're not doing our normal exercise routines, we're not eating the same as we were before, we're not sleeping the same, pretty much nothing is the same anymore. And a lot of changes for the better, but sometimes one of the things that we let go is our strength in our glute max and our behind and our glute medius on the sides of our hips. These muscles are extremely important for runners, but if they have atrophied and weakened a lot since having your baby, I would recommend starting there with your strengthening before you just go out and start running again. Even if you didn't do glute strengthening ever before, this is a time when it is important, because your glutes keep your pelvis level when you're running, and there's a lot of changes that happen to our pelvis when we are pregnant. And so we want to make sure that all those muscles are working well so that you don't experience a lot of pain with running. And also, your glutes are really what is going to propel you forward with running. So start with glute strengthening. I have a whole nother video on that. I'm going to link that above, because if you need some ideas on where to start, where to progress to, try those things, and then let's talk about moving forward with getting back to running. So now that you've thought about your glutes and you're getting those firing, another progression before you've just hit the trail again is working on asymmetrical strengthening. So I want to just go ahead and give you some ideas about some exercises that you can do if you want to make sure that you are fully strengthened and prepared to start running again. And here they are. As you go, like you're sitting down, and lift back up. With this one, you want to be careful that your butt is going back and your knees aren't going like forward over your feet, because that is not good mechanics. You want to try to keep shoulders and pelvis level. If you're really dipping down like this, not really working what we want to work. Trying to load one side and still keep everything level makes it an asymmetric exercise. If you want to tie your breath work to it, as you go down, you'll blow out. As you're exhaling, you're also bringing your abdomen together, especially if you have a history of a DRA. Keeping everything nice and tight. On the way up, make sure you're squeezing your glutes up. from a different angle here, working the other side, down, squeeze on the way up. For this next one, it's called a single leg Romanian deadlift. You're going to take your extremely fancy weight if you're like me, or your kettlebell, or whatever you have available. You are going to keep the weight on one side. On that same side, you're going to lift up your leg behind you. If balance is an issue for you, go ahead and drop those toes down and use them for balance. Still keeping the weight up in that planted foot in the front. Just using that leg for balance, those toes. Big thing is squeeze with the glutes on the way up rather than straining your low back. I'm going to go ahead and give you a side view on that. Obviously, I need the help with balance, so I'm going to let my toes rest down. This side seems to be a little weaker for me. That's not uncommon. To have one side that's a little bit weaker than the other. The last two movements were a little bit more dynamic, lots of moving. This is a little more static of a position, but it's definitely going to challenge our balance as well as our ability to hold poses like this. Another variation of building strength, equally as important. So how this one works, weight on just one side, kettlebell or dumbbell, and you're going to lift up, keeping the arm nice and straight, keeping that knee lifted up, trying to hold it for 20 to 30 seconds or wherever you're starting right now, and then slowly bringing it back down. You want to watch out for things going wrong in your posture. Maybe get a little bit less weight if you're having things like your back is arching a lot, or you're feeling like you have to really tuck your butt under in order to maintain it. So in that, it would look like this. If your butt's way out and your back is arched, or if your butt's tucked under to stabilize, that's not good. You want it in a neutral position. Trying not to let your pelvis drop down one way or the other. Probably more likely to go this way. Kind of keep it nice and level, nice and strong. After you've worked on your asymmetrical strengthening, another place to go is plank jacks. Now the perk of these is that it's getting that impact without actually being in an upright position. When we are fully upright and we are having that impact, gravity is so heavy on us that it can cause a lot more pelvic pain and incontinence. But if we eliminate gravity by doing it in a plank position, we can actually decrease pelvic pain, decrease incontinence. So if you maybe thought, okay, I did the strengthening and I tried running, but that impact is just, it's not going well. I have pelvic pain or I'm leaking urine or whatever is happening there, try this plank position first. Different variations of this are the width that your legs go in and out when you're jumping, the speed, you can go fast, you can go slower. It just basically a slow progression. Once you feel like you're pretty comfortable with that, you can move to the elevated plank jack. You can do this, but maybe just going a few inches higher on like maybe the edge of a picnic table bench or a low chair, and then elevating all the way up to a countertop. And basically the goal is to get completely upright, but you are gradually working yourself upright, getting that impact, making sure you can do it without incontinence and without significant pelvic pain. If you are experiencing pain, incontinence, Even after trying everything in the checklist above, I would highly, highly encourage you to get in touch with the women's health physical therapist in your area. We have so much to offer as far as manual work, being able to see what the strength of your pelvic floor is, and just offering a little more tailored training specifically for you. And I really think if your goal is to get back to running, they could offer you lots of insight into that. Please comment below with what is motivating you to want to get back to running. Do you just need a little time by yourself, or are you super excited to use your new stroller, or what makes you so excited about running again? I would love to have you subscribe to my channel so that you can journey with me as we talk about all things mama, pregnancy, postpartum, just all sorts of things around being a mama. And I put out videos every week, and I would love for you to be a part of that with me. Thanks so much, and we'll see y'all next time.